That music just makes you want to like dance.
I know it's good morning music because it's got a beat, but it's like chill. I wasn't ready for the day when it came today. Oh. Oh no, I think I froze.
Uh-oh, the internet is going to give us some issues this morning. Welcome everybody to our live viewers and to my co-host Lisa. It is our Thursday morning, and yeah, I feel tired today too. You said you didn't sleep very good last night.
No, hopefully, am I unfrozen?
You're unfrozen.
Okay, good. Yeah, Cauldron woke me up at 12:30 in the middle of the night, being wild and crazy. So, and somebody's like knocking on my door right now too. Like, what the hell?
I think. And Lisa's left the show. She's left into the kitchen to get some more coffee because welcome to the show today. Comment, let us know where you're. I am the CEO of Spirit and Spark, and I am the co-host of Lisa and Dallisa, and talk about the mysterious flight of MH370, which disappeared years ago. And we're going to talk about our theories on that. We're also going to be doing some card pulls for everybody that's tuning in live today. So that's your bonus, folks. Like if you join us live and you watch and you're commenting and you're interacting, you get to get involved with whatever we have going on the show that day. So go ahead and start commenting. Let us know where you're watching from, city and state. And thank you. Special shout out to all of our members. You are showing up for us in green this morning. So we thank you. If you have no idea what we're talking about, there is a button next to our subscribe button on both of our channels, Spirit and Spark TV, as well as Buddhist Biohacker. You can click subscribe, which I hope you have, and then join is becoming a patron of our channel and unlock special badges and emojis. Lisa, are you back?
I'm back.
You're here.
So this is really funny. So the UPS truck pulled up in front of our house and, they drop off or whatever. I was like, oh, they're dropping off a book or something I bought. I don't know. But they start pounding on the door and I'm like, oh my God. So this is pretty amazing, you guys. This box is full of wine from Dry Farm Wines, I'm a partner affiliate with them. And I love their wine because it's sulfite free and mycotoxin free and sugar free. And it's so good. Well, the founder of the company is coming on my show in 2 weeks and they sent me a whole thing of wine. That's what just showed up at the house.
I think we need a bottle of that wine this morning.
I was like, oh, wine's arriving. They know what kind of day I've had today.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think I need them for sure. Yeah. So do you want to talk about, I know we have our special guest today, Astro Chris, and Astro Chris is going to come on and give our astrology forecast, the astrology weather for this week. And, I'll trust that you want to bring her on whenever that's ready to go. But do you want to talk about the flight first?
Yeah, let's do it. That's kind of fun. Hey, we got to play our cool video, though, because it's so fun. It makes us feel like I don't know. Here we go.
Oh boy. Yeah, this flight, this mysterious Malaysia airplane that went missing years ago is what we're going to take a look at this morning. And so the way that Lisa and I work is actually pretty similar. And we each independently looked at the energy to see what was coming forward for us. In full disclosure, it was interesting. So last night I sat down and I wrote out my notes for what was coming forward. But I am fortunate enough to have a father who's worked in aviation for 45 years plus. And I ran my channeled notes past him to kind of get his take on it. And it sounds like what was coming forward psychically matched up. Do you want me to go ahead and share, Lisa, what came forward?
Yeah, do it. Go for it. And then I'll share
Okay.
what I got.
Okay, awesome. So remember, as we do these cases, we're not, persecuting or judging anyone or anything associated with these cases. It's merely just showing you how we work as psychic mediums. Obviously, there's nobody been brought to justice with anything having to do with this missing airplane or anything that's happened with it. So don't take our word as the court of law. It's really for entertainment purposes only. No hate mail, please. You know what's so interesting about that? Somebody messaged me the other day and said, the sweater you were wearing was really ugly.
What?
And I'm like, and I know you had some haters in the last 24 hours too. And I'm like, you know what? If you aren't here with like love and light, then like get lost.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's kind of funny when you really put yourself out to the public, what comes out, that's for sure.
I know. I was laughing and I saw that sweater I was wearing and it was like out this morning. And I'm like, I guess I won't be wearing that sweater, at least not today.
Oh
anyway,
God.
I digress. But yeah, entertainment purposes only. That's where I was going with it. Okay. So, I got that one of the pilots, and I do believe it was like a secondary position, so I'd call that like a co-pilot, was on a suicide mission, that he had turned off specific equipment within the airplane to basically fly without being detected, or that there was something that he switched with the navigation system. I do feel that there was pre-planning with harm, the energy of harm with that co-pilot. And there was that intention to cause damage. I also got information that there was like weaponizing energy around the plane. And so either he was going to use that as like a weapon for harm, which was part of that previous message, or saving the airplane for later to do harm with it at a later date. As we all know, planes have been used to cause intentional damage in the past. So I do think that there were a few different layers to what he was planning on doing that day, but I also got the impression that what he had planned didn't really go as he had intended. I got that he was lost, that the plane eventually ran out of fuel, that there was a big fireball with an impact. And so this is the part where I had to ask my dad, because I was like, I don't quite understand how all these things fit together. And he did say that based off of how airplanes are and how the fuselage works and a plane that runs out of fuel and things like that, that when it hits the water at that impact, that it could essentially take the remainder of the fuel and blow up. But what's also interesting, and I'll let Lisa take over from here, is I do think that there is energy associated with either an international country, that they did something, planned to do something, we're taking a close look at it. But I didn't get a lot of information on that, but I think Lisa did. So I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, what a weird thing. Dallisa, so for everybody to know in context, usually we line up pretty consistently. Like Dallisa and I usually see very similar things. And in this particular case, we got sort of different things that are sort of the same. And I was just sitting here while you were talking, thinking about, psychic interference. And I'm like, if this was government related, it's very possible that there's some kind of interference that's giving different information. That's a real thing. And so I was thinking of that. But anyway, what I got about this flight was that there was some kind of technology being tested that created issues with this plane. So there was something going on from another country that was impacting this plane and where it was going. And then I also saw that this other country likely eliminated this plane. So that's what I was seeing, is that it was some kind of new technology, new weapon structure, something like that, which does line up with what you're saying, Dallisa. It's just like a different aspect of the story. So that's what I got about it. It really is just a weird energy for sure, because it is like
really weird.
there and then gone, like energetically, not just like in the news, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. There's some wonky, mysterious energy around it. I don't think we're supposed to know. I think mainstream media, as far as I know, has kind of shut down things that they'll talk about in regards to the case. There was apparently some pieces of the airplane that they found, but let us know in the comments, what do you think happened to this flight? And as a reminder, we'd love for you to subscribe to both the Spirit and Spark TV on YouTube as well as Buddhist Biohacker. So hopefully at this point, since you're used to our show, that you've subscribed to both of us on YouTube. I see some of our members on here dropping emojis, which is awesome.
I know. I see somebody using Super Chat too. We don't even know how that works, but it definitely works. Somebody's asking, and good morning to everybody who's joining. And I see Ricardo is saying good morning, saw Aaron Abke yesterday. Yeah, that was so much fun. He's such an amazing guy. So I am glad that you came over to see what else we're doing here, because we have 3 shows on my channel today. But somebody's asking about when this was. So here you go. 12:42 a.m., March 8th, 2014. It was a Boeing 777-200ER operated by Malaysia Airlines. So for those of you who are out there who like to look at this and do some forensic mediumship, that was it. So the year was 2014, March 8th, 2014, which is weird because that was just 10 days ago. So it's weird that we chose this, because we were not choosing it because of the time frame. So that's kind of weird too. It kind of creeps me out.
Yeah, I don't know what the super chat is, but Wicked Love Media, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, we have no idea how to use it yet. We just know like the join and like being a patron of the channel, which starts at $2.99 a month. So other than that, we're just kind of flying by the seat of our pants. Oh, so we have Psychic Jody says the airplane was intercepted by a UFO.
Interesting. Well, and that's kind of lines up with this technology thing. I mean, something, you know, here's the thing. Was it a UFO? Wherever she went, Psychic Jody, was it a UFO? Or do you think that it was a government, from a government system or structure from a country that was partnering with the ultra terrestrials to test some technology? Because that was really what I felt. I felt like they were testing something that's not something we would expect in our world. And that's my sense. I'm curious what you think. So yeah, Jody says you have direct communication. So
yeah, I film UFO and have direct. Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. We have, I think, the Galactic Historian on what is it, next Saturday with us?
Yeah, March 27th. Andrew Bartzis, you guys, is going to be on with me and Dallisa. He's a galactic historian. He is so fabulous. He's been on the show before, and your head explodes when you talk to him, which is so great. But very same messages, you know, as all the rest of us. As Aaron spoke yesterday, and as we've talked about here on the show, like Andrew, it's all about us focusing on ourselves and healing ourselves. So he'll be talking about that. But he also has a lot of great information about the history of the planet and the Anunnaki and all of those things. If you really want to nerd out on that stuff, he's your guy. So that's fun. I'm also, Dallisa, I'm going on his comedy show on April 2nd with him and Monty. And for everybody who loves Andrew, they do this comedy show and they basically just talk crap about all of this stuff. And it's really funny. So I've got to work on my shtick.
Better you than me. Oh man, that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to having him on our show next Saturday. So that'll be awesome. There's going to be a lot of information coming out about your One Heart, One Earth weekend. You should start to see information this weekend as well as this coming week. Lisa has amazing content, and we'll be doing a few different things. Our Sunday service, the show with Andrew. We also have card pulls that we'll be doing live on YouTube streaming. So there's a lot of stuff going on next weekend. So be on the lookout for One Heart, One Earth information.
Yeah, for sure. I'll share some more at the end of the show today. And should we bring out Astro Chris? I feel like
let's do it.
I'm pretty excited to talk about astrology this week. So here we go. We're going to bring in our special guest today, which is Astro Chris.
Yay!
And here she comes. Hello. Welcome.
I'm like getting used to this platform, listening to all this UFO talk. I love it.
Yes, it was your birthday the other day. I was on your Instagram page and we pulled a few cards and talked about you being on the show today. So it's fun to see you again. Thanks for being a part of this.
Thank
and
you
so,
for having me.
Yeah, we want you to talk. What's going on for this next week ahead? What can people expect?
Well, it's a little mix. I want to say it's like a 50 week in a scale from 0 to 100. Some people are going to feel more of like closer to 100. It all depends on their personal chart. Some people less. And there's a few reasons why. So I'll start with the good. The sun's entering Aries, and the sun loves the sign of Aries. And that's happening on, hold on, I have my notes here. I think it's on Saturday. Yes, Saturday. So the sun is exalted in that sign, and it's also spring equinox. So starting new things, new beginnings. You know, the birds are chirping, the flowers are going to start blossoming, things like that. So that's really good versus this Pisces energy, which I love because I'm a Pisces sun, but it's more about disconnecting and resting and restoring our body versus being vitalized like we would be in the sun in Aries. Another thing is Venus going into the sun, the zodiac sign of Aries as well, following the sun. And Venus loves the sign of Pisces. So whenever we have planets all shifting in 1 week, that's when it becomes that, kind of shaky energy, because we're used to a certain energy and then the planet moves to another zodiac sign, and the neighboring signs, they do build upon each other, but they're not the same. Like Pisces energy is not the same as Aries energy versus Aries and Taurus, etc. They do have qualities where they kind of pass on the torch, sort of say, but it's not the same feeling. And we also had Mercury just enter Pisces, which that made it everything like Mercury retrograde feeling, because Mercury doesn't like the sign of Pisces. So some people are going to feel that more like brain fog and not a lot of clarity, especially because this is where we get that 50 and up energy. Mars is in Gemini. Mars doesn't do that well in the sign of Gemini because Mars likes to have direction, likes to have directives, and it's very straightforward. And Gemini is like, look at this, look at that, look at it. So we're going to be so like scatterbrained. And then we have the ruler of Gemini in Pisces, which is like, I need to rest now. Like, I've been working so hard. I was in Aquarius, like giving you all these good downloads and information. And now I just need some time off. So you start feeling that brain fog. So I don't know if you guys want to ask any questions or interject at any time, because I can just like ramble. Like I'm sorry.
I mean, it feels like we're going to be all over the place.
Yes.
Because for me, like, because I have a Pisces moon in Western tropical, and I'm like, I get it, the feeler, like intuitive and just kind of that like lovey feeling, taking care of ourselves. And when I think about moving into Aries, I'm like, drop your bags and get going.
Yes.
Which is completely different for me.
Yes, exactly. And that's why we'll get pulled in that direction where we're like, our mind kind of wants to rest. It's in Pisces, but our body is so activated, especially our hands and our thoughts and our speech, because Mars is activating a Mercury sign, which is Gemini. And the toughest part of this transit, it kind of started as of yesterday, and it's going to go through, let me see the dates I wrote, until April 7th. And that is when Mars gets close to the North Node, because the North Node is quite chaotic. And just trust the process, because we do have support from Saturn trining the north node, and Saturn is sextiling the south node. And for those of you that are not familiar with the nodes are directions. And this is the cosmic nodes right now. That's for the collective. It's not necessarily your natal chart. Your chart has individual nodes for yourself, but as a collective, we're moving in that direction. And Saturn's kind of anchoring the energy. It has a leash on Mars a little bit because Saturn is actually controlling all the planets now. This is called rulership. So I use ancient rulerships. Oh, I didn't even intro myself. I'm Astro Chris. I'm a Hellenistic astrologer, so I use Hellenistic practices, and I do use the outer planets. But when I look at who's in charge and who's ruling the sky, I don't use any other planet after Saturn. So right now, Saturn is ruling the sky. If we do a dispositor tree, that means you see who's in control. Saturn is in a sign that he rules, which is Aquarius. And then who else is there with him? Jupiter is there with him in the sign of Aquarius. What does Jupiter rule? Jupiter rules Venus. I'm sorry, right now, Jupiter is ruling Venus because she's in Pisces. Jupiter's also ruling the sun because it's in Pisces. So what does the sun rule? And then there's nothing in Leo, so we just leave that alone. But look at Venus. What is Venus doing? Venus rules Taurus and Libra. There's no planets in Libra, but we do have Uranus in the sign of Taurus. So that's how you start going down, and everything leads back to Saturn. So Saturn is in charge. Saturn is supporting, and it's a little bit of frustrating energy because Mars wants to go fast and just get things done. And Saturn's like, wait, you need to pay attention to all the details. You need to look at everything that needs to be accomplished because he's a perfectionist. He wants to take one step at a time, and he's represented by that goat that climbs the mountain, right? So they are very patient to get up that mountain. They even take breaks in between, but they climb very high heights and achieve very high things because that is their prerogative. They like to do that. And that's the energy of Capricorn and also Aquarius, where they think kind of outside the box, and Saturn is there kind of helping us out. So that's why I say trust the process, because all the developments that we're having now are going to lead us to the right direction. But while all the little planets are kind of messing around, like goofing around and getting us a little bit more, not too zen and not too harmonious within, I do advise that we do a lot of breath work because Gemini rules the lungs. So if you're feeling nervous, you're feeling scattered, you're feeling like you're taking up too many tasks, do some breath work. That's what I advise. I don't know if you guys got any downloads while I'm talking about this, because sometimes when I work with psychics, they usually like, ooh, yeah, I'm getting that information. This is the stuff that I think people should be doing right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, in the comments, we have a few folks going back and forth just about how people have been mean. Like they've just been cruel and saying things that aren't nice. And so it's interesting about the Mercury and the communication and the energy behind that, because we all know that there's high expression of any sign and there's low expression. And so if people are feeling agitated or feeling like they need to lash out at other people, it might be something they're feeling in that lower expression of the sign placement, perhaps.
Yes, and actually, I didn't want to go that route, but I think for the sake of us being open and just knowing that it can happen, when Mars conjuncts the North Node, it can be quite violent in all aspects. It can cause accidents. Gemini rules vehicles, so it can cause vehicle accidents, especially a lot of road rage. That's what I've noticed. People get like extreme road rage first when Mars enters Gemini, and when it's in Rahu, because it's a direction point, it just amplifies it like 1,000 times. And you will hear some people more aggressive towards others. You will see this. So we do have to make sure that we're patient about it and, tap into that Aquarius house where Saturn is at, because that's where we're learning the lesson. He's kind of anchoring everything down. But yes, I've noticed that too. And I've also noticed a lot of, social media messages that I'm getting, and they're not bad, but very spammy. And Neptune is in the sign of Pisces right now, and he is going to be making a square to Mars. Plus, the moon keeps activating Neptune from Gemini because it squares that energy. And that's going to happen on Friday and Saturday. So it'll conjunct Mars, and then it'll square Neptune. We need to be careful that day. That's actually Friday and Saturday, because the moon rules the body, and it's already squaring Neptune, which could be infections, and it could also represent like you getting sick but not knowing that you're sick. So, something like what's happening now, you don't know that you're sick, but you get sick around that time. And then Mars is also dysregulating the body, because Mars and the moon together just kind of makes you have more energy, and you might want to go out and then place yourselves in not so great situations. So be very, very cautious. As long as you're safe and you're kind of thinking back, and that's why I want people to breathe if they're feeling nervous, because it calms the body, calms the mind, and then you can have clearer thought. Mercury in Gemini likes to multitask, so just kind of do a few things at once, but not too many, where you're not really seeing the small little details because you have too many things going on. But yeah, I've seen the aggressiveness in people.
Yeah. We're seeing that a lot in the comments, people saying that they're feeling short-tempered, crazy drivers. I see that over and over and over again. Do you have like a time frame, or I know I'm putting you on the spot with this, or what do you feel intuitively as your estimation as to how long you think that this kind of spammy or aggressive or kind of lower frequency communication is going to be happening?
Yeah, I really feel once Mars gets out of the sign of Gemini, which is going to be the end of April. So I actually wrote those dates, like, because this is where I felt the energy is going to be the strongest, from March 17th through April 7th. And that's because Mars is going to square Neptune, so the Pisces energy. And Neptune there, Neptune could be very compassionate, but it also rules fraud. It also rules martyrdom. It also rules like people that can become occultists have a very strong Neptune, because they could influence people by their magic. It's like very magical, and people just follow them, right? So it's very deceptive. But there's a good side of Neptune, which is very compassionate, one love. So I think once Mars leaves Gemini, Neptune's not going to be squared. So we're going to start seeing less of it. Then Mars goes into Cancer. And, that's another sign that doesn't do that great, because then it becomes very emotional. So what ends up happening, the things that we're building up right now in Cancer, we're going to start releasing them from the body, maybe like physically letting them out, like with really working out or actually crying. So we just have to be mindful that what we're bottling in right now, we're letting it out. And I really do think that around that time will kind of regulate. But then Mars opposes Pluto. So it's not super bad. There's actually really good aspects all the way through September. It's just a little mix. It's not like the perfect picture that we want to paint. There's some little subtle things going on.
Well, and it sounds like I scheduled a lot of self-care appointments and things for myself tomorrow and Saturday. So I'm listening to this thinking, wow, that's interesting, because it sounds like that's really should be our focus the next couple of days. And I've heard even in the Vedic astrology that, between now and April 15th is going to be volatile no matter what. So
Yes.
It sounds like that's still the case, and we have to just buckle down and be ready for whatever's going to show up for us.
Yes, be very mindful, get all those appointments in, because the less stress we release from our body, and you know this as a Ayurvedic practitioner, we then bottle less stress, and then we're not going to be reflecting all these emotions on people. So we can make a big difference. We really can. But we can't control others' actions either. So we have to be careful. Mm-hmm.
Yep, so true. Well, and in speaking of that Ayurveda piece, I'm glad you brought that up, because we're also in a season change.
Yes.
And when your body goes through that season change, this should be the best thing you can do is self-care. A cleanse is really good right now, and really resting and allowing your body to transition from whether you're going from winter to spring or some are going from summer to fall.
Yes.
So whatever transition you're in, it's important to rest and take care of yourself and actually like cleanse, fast, eat light really this next week. And it sounds like that will serve you with the astrology too. So
Yes.
something to keep in mind.
Yes. Yes, it will.
Yeah, I think that the political stage leadership, I keep getting downloads that there's the shifts that are already starting to come in. And so I think it's going to be in this period that there's going to be some shakeups. And I don't want to celebrate that, right? But it's like, get ready, folks. You know, I talk about it a lot on my Monday forecast. I'm like, if you're just going through life cruising and thinking everything's just the Jolly Green Giant and everything's fantastic, just wait, because there's a lot that's going to be happening, I feel like, in the next month.
Yeah, I think so too. There's a lot. And I even here, I'm in California, so the kids are going back to school even then. This is why I want people to be cautious this weekend, because Mars is going to start squaring Neptune, and Neptune rules infections, and so it can get out of control. So we have a lot of debate back and forth in regard to how are we going to do this? How are we going to manage the opening? Are they going full time? Because the kids are not getting vaccinated, and that's a whole different story. I'm not going to state my opinion about that, but we're going to put kids in a situation where they're with other kids, and we've been keeping them safe at home. And there's other things too, more things opening up, people being stressed out because they're not finding employment, or they cannot work because they're taking care of children, because even the opening of schools here is not going to be full time. So I already got my schedule for my children, and it's like they want me to take my kids from 8 to 10. And I'm like, okay. For people that work, like that doesn't really work for them. Like if you already have a schedule, you already like kind of nailed everything down now, and now they want you to change it up. It's just going to cause additional stress, and you're going to start feeling all of it. So there's a lot of things going on, like governmental, like you said. We're going to see it. We're going to see a lot of changes. We're probably going to see a lot of implementation of law. Mars is the officer, rules the officers, and Gemini is our neighborhood. So, be careful with getting tickets, especially if you have road rage. But we're going to see enforcement a little bit more stronger. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. Leave your house with extra time.
Yes. Yes. And doesn't this sound like Mercury retrograde? You're like, okay, check your tires, make sure you leave your keys in the same place, like triple check your work. And that's because the ruler of the Gemini energy is in Pisces. He's confused. Now, when it enters Aries, which is going to be, I want to say around April 20th, that date's popping up. It's around that time. Then it's going to cool off a little. We're still going to see the energy of Mercury and the North Node together, but now Mars and Mercury are in mutual reception, meaning they're in each other's kingdom. So they help each other's out. They're like on the same page. They can help each other out. And we're not going to feel this like daisy fogginess that we're feeling now, because Mercury's lost. He's like walking through the fog, trying to be reborn right now. And he gets born in the sign of Aries. He doesn't really care for the sign of Aries either, but it's not a bad treatment. It's just like, okay, let's get it done. But with that support from Mars being in his kingdom, then he gets grounded and he's able to communicate better. But one thing that is good for Mars being in Gemini, it's good for businesses. It really is. You can develop a sales strategy right now. You can launch a lot of things, especially because all the planets are direct. So when planets are retrograde, it's time for us to kind of research and plan out. Right now, we should be, implementing whatever we planned when the planets were direct, so we can get some bearing, some fruits. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, it's just like Mercury retrograde. I was telling Lisa yesterday, we were having a conversation about everything we have going on. And I said, yeah, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I know my schedule's not going to work like I have it planned today. Something's going to cancel. Something's going to move. And I'm just going to go with it. What are you going to do?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and it's weird. My monthly transmission for this month, the sacred council said, don't focus on deadlines. Like, don't stick to any deadlines. Don't worry about what those are. And at the time it was like a little thing in the whole transmission, but now I'm like, that's a poignant statement, because things are just changing and schedules are changing, and that's that.
Yes, so you can have a nice outline, but don't be a stickler to it. Be open to change. And that's all that mutable energy that Gemini and Pisces bring.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, we loved what you had to say today. I see a lot of people commenting and saying that they agree with you and things that you've brought up with the weather, the astrology weather. Can you please, before you go, let everyone know how they can find you, how they can connect with you?
Yes, thank you. So my Instagram handle is right there, Coda Queen Astrology. That's also my website the same way. And I am on YouTube with the same user as well. And I do IG lives on my IG page every Wednesday. So you guys can find me basically almost any social media platform. I'm on Clubhouse. Yeah. And I think I don't know if I linked to the information on the bio for the description. I think I did, not sure. Yeah, I think
that's all right. I think like your website has everything on there. So I would say, if people want to learn more, connect with you, hear about your sessions, go to your website page, Coda Queen Astrology.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Astro Chris. I appreciate you coming on the show today.
It's awesome having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You guys take care, and I'll see you guys around. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we'll see you soon. Bye. Oh my gosh, that was awesome.
Yeah, it totally was. And so validating. And man, you guys, I'm reading your comments over here and I'm getting distracted because there's so many things going on over here.
I know they're confirming what the astrology is saying, for sure. Nina, happy birthday. Nina's birthday is coming up on Saturday, so happy birthday. But yeah, I think we should pull some cards. What do you think?
I think we should for sure. And I think, we've got some members on here. We've got some super chats. So you guys get to be first. So if you guys have questions, whoever has questions, throw them in there and we'll just filter them. But we'll go through any of the members first. But if you have any questions, I've got my handy dandy Rider-Waite right here. So I'm very anti Matrix, but I saw this little bag at Starbucks. I don't drink Starbucks coffee. I'm just letting everybody know. But is this not amazing? It is the perfect size for my tarot deck. So I thought it was ironically anti-Matrix. So anyway, No,
I love it. I think it's really cute. I've never seen a bag that small. I have The Answer is Simple deck.
Oh, nice.
They're very, very simple cards, but I like the messages that they have on there. So yeah, all you got to do is in the comments of the video, drop a question. Of course, this is for the live broadcast. So as we're shuffling and people are putting their comments or questions, or should be in there. Is there anything you want to update folks with as we're shuffling of anything to be on the lookout for with what you're involved with?
Yeah, I think the big thing is that our One Heart, One Earth 1 year anniversary is next week. I can't believe it's been a year and that's it. It feels like it's been 50 years in some ways. And in other ways, it's like, whoa, it's already been a year. But a year ago is when we kicked off my YouTube channel, Buddhist Biohacker, and started doing the One Heart, One Earth Global Healing Summits to support everyone during the pandemic. And we have about 700 videos. I mean, we probably have 1,000 hours of content, you guys, from healers all over the globe. And so our celebration next week is really all of us coming together. There's about 70 of us from all around the globe that are coming together here on Buddhist Biohacker. And Dallisa, of course, is one of them, to really celebrate what we've built, what we created, to celebrate our community. The social media app that I built for us is called Ajatakasa. If you're not in there yet, get in there. Ajatakasa is Sanskrit for infinite and boundless space. And it is our very own social media that is not divisive, and is committed to nonviolence, and it's very spiritual and connected and beautiful. It's free to download. It's free to be part of the community. I did that on purpose so that we have a space where we're not censored. There's no algorithms. Like, you're not being tracked and traced. Like, it's really fabulous. So come on in there and join us. And we're going to do a huge weekend watch party, and Awaken Grace premieres. We have our Sunday morning service premiering the second episode of that. We have lives all day long, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, really holding space for all of us. And what's funny, Dallisa, about this whole One Heart, One Earth, every single summit, we did 4 summits last year. Every single one, the council just tells me when to do it. They're like, oh, just do it on these dates. Every single time it was like some ridiculous astrology. It was like some jacked up, like one of the summits was literally in the middle of Mercury retrograde. Like, it shouldn't even have worked out. And we ended up, it went off beautifully. But it was funny because here we are again, and it kicks off on March 26th with which our favorite astrologer, Joni Patry, has said is like this massive day. And I think, and something's supposed to happen that day. And I think, isn't it crazy how these dates just consistently are like really intense, tough astrology, hard stuff. And we're all here holding space together, the facilitators, the participants, every single time. It's so beautiful and so awesome. So I'm actually really excited about it. I am every time, but I feel like, this is really a celebration this time. It's a lot of fun. It's going to be some dance parties, and we're doing live readings and, just sharing sound healing. And I mean, it's just going to be a really fun weekend, and there's tons of prizes, you guys, tons. So if you want any information on this, just go to oneheartoneearth.net. So it's oneheartoneearth.net. When you go there, everything's there, all the information on how to participate and the schedule for all 3 days. And just keep your eye on that. And it's going to be awesome. I think we're going to do a fast too. I think we're going to go ahead and honor Gandhi and nonviolence once more, and do a weekend fast next weekend for everybody who wants to participate. So I'll be getting that out too. So what about you?
Awesome. Yeah. I've got a couple notes on here. So the new podcast episode came out today. Jennifer Irene is on there. She has a really amazing story about her spiritual journey and how everything came to be, and lots of synchronicities. It's worth hearing. It's an incredible story. So it's called Highway to Healing, and you can find it on all major podcast platforms. And Pandora just emailed me this morning and said that it's been accepted. It's on Pandora now, which is awesome. Lisa told me to submit over there, so I did. Let's see here. Quick mention, because I actually do see people in the comments asking about loved ones and messages from loved ones. We do have our free streaming mediumship event that we're doing on YouTube, and that is March 23rd. It's at noon Pacific time, 3:00 Eastern. We're going to be looking at 3 famous, notorious true crime cases, and mediums will be weighing in on those. Lisa and I and a few other folks like Nikki Allen, Maria Howard, and a few others. So we're all going to get together, look at Amelia Earhart, Madeline McCann, and JFK. And then we're going to be taking questions from the live viewers of that mediumship event, giving you messages from your loved ones who have crossed over. We're going to do card readings today, but just the March 23rd at noon Pacific needs to be on your calendar now, because you want to make sure you watch live so that you can actually ask your questions. So beautiful. And then we'll do the soul to soul question after we get done pulling some cards, but all good in my world, and just cooking some cool stuff up. So I saw Wicked Love Media. You'd asked a couple questions, but I'm going to go with the first one you posted, which was that you don't have a question. And I'm going to pull a couple cards because you're one of our super chat sponsors for today's show. So let me just see what comes up. Oh, interesting. So I see movement and action. Oh, you've got two cards that represent new, fresh starts. You got call your spirit home and start anew. So these cards both represent for me that there's going to be movement around home, office, work, something new being activated, but that it's in your highest and best interest. So I feel like, let me pull one more card because I'm getting the feeling to tell you that you don't have to do everything by yourself. And this confirms it. It says, accept love. This is about you asking for help where you need it and not feeling like you have to do everything on your own. So just get really clear, like Astro Chris was saying a minute ago, you can make amazing business things happen right now. So get clear on what it is that you want to do and then move forward in doing it, because Wicked Love Media, you've got 3 cards that say you can do it. Don't feel like you have to carry all the burdens of new, fresh starts, though. So collaborate with the right people is what I'm hearing to tell you. So those are the cards. I pulled 3 because you're a super chat person. Who are you going to go with?
Well, I pulled for Kristen. Kristen's also a member of our channel. So thank you, Kristen, for that. And she was asking if her business is going to grow and be successful. And I pulled 2 cards out of my tarot deck. We have the World and we have Justice. And these are very interesting because the world, of course, is your success. You know, that's what goes around, comes around. That's like all the work and energy you've put into your business is finally going to come forward and there is success. But you also have the Justice card, and the Justice card, this card, you know, the thing about justice is it's all about like whatever happens is for the best for all involved. So it's kind of one of those non-answer cards, and you have the 2 of them together. And so actually, here's my read for you about your business. Yes, it's going to grow and be successful. I mean, that's the short answer, but the long answer is that there's something about finding balance within your work. You know, that's what this Justice card is about. There's something about finding balance with what you're doing. And it honestly doesn't feel like your schedule or like you're overworking as much as it feels like there's something you want to balance out with the flow of energy, whatever you're putting out versus what's coming in, and being able to be creative with your business and being able to share it in creative ways. Hasn't necessarily come to the forefront, maybe. The other thing is to be patient. You know, that Justice card is also about that as well. So I would say it is going to be successful. What you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. But if you're putting more into it than what you're getting out of it, I would look at the flow. And if you feel like you haven't gotten anything out of it yet, it's probably going to be coming here in the next few months. So that's what I got for you, Kristen. Yeah.
I love it. I'm going to do Anne-Marie next about the flowers, wanting to know if it was an apology or a different meaning. Intuitively, the hit I got was that it was sincere. I do feel like the flowers were. I'm also hearing, though, basically, if there is something you feel like this friend should have apologized for, I want you to sit with that part of it, not the actual action that you got the flowers, because I think, Anne-Marie, one thing you have to do is really get clear about who gets to be in your inner circle and who doesn't. Because I don't want you to be, they're saying Neptune. So I know what that means. They don't want you to be like bedazzled and see things the way that maybe they appear in like this magical way. Instead, stick with the facts and take a look at intuitively who's around you. What are they bringing? What are they not bringing? Are they in balance? The card that I pulled is it's not an emergency. And so for me, this card is like, it's not something that's, I feel, going to cause a major disruption in your life over this friend or other people around you. But it's like, if you don't start taking a look at it and shutting out the old energy, you're not really allowing space and creating space for new people, new experiences. So my message, Anne-Marie, for you would be, yes, they were sincere, but don't be bedazzled, and take a look at who should be around and what your parameters are. What is it going to take for somebody to have a spot at the inner circle? Just get really clear on that. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. I don't want to throw your friend under the bus.
So Lori, you were asking what David's feeling about you and will you reunite soon? And it's an interesting question because I'm writing my third book, which is all about relationships and when I was dating and how crazy and terrible that was. And one of the things about reading relationships, and this isn't all about you, Lori, but this is for everybody who asks about relationships, is no matter what that person feels about you, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to act on it one way or the other. I mean, that's the tough, difficult thing is somebody can have a lot of feelings for someone and never act on it, or be able to push past their baggage. So it's a tricky thing when you ask how somebody feels about you because it doesn't necessarily manifest into action. So you have to keep that in mind. But I went ahead, Lori, I threw a very basic Celtic cross, old school for you about this. And I would say, yeah, there's a reuniting in here, and it looks like the season of spring, which we really are kicking off here in like 4 days, I think 3 or 4 days is the season of spring. So spring in my cards is the actual season. So that starts March 20th this year, I think. And then it's going to be, goes through June 20th. So you've got over the next 4 months, there is a reuniting. I want you to be careful, though, because this is showing that this man, David, is very impulsive in his decisions. So he tends to come in and go out, is my guess from what I'm seeing here. He's coming up as Knight of Wands, which is a super passionate, impulsive. They come in hot, but they also leave just as hot. It's like they're always acting and they're reacting, So that's a huge thing to keep in mind. So just pay attention to your heart. This is also showing a lot of open dishonor. So what that means is like hidden dishonor in the sneak thief, the 7 of Swords is like cheating, lying, right? Open dishonor, which is the 5 of Swords, is like openly being a dick. So I want you to be careful. I mean, there's no better way to say it. So it means that they might be openly doing things that they shouldn't do. So honestly, Lori, what I see here is, yes, there's a reuniting here. I do see that there's a foundation with the relationship, but I would be really, really cautious about what you're getting yourself into. Don't compromise yourself and listen to your intuition. If you feel like this isn't right, like listen to that because it feels like it could reunite and then you break up again. I mean, that's kind of what I'm feeling. So there you go. Boo.
I know,
but it's the truth, man.
And sometimes you gotta date a dud in order to be like, you know what, that's exactly what I don't want. Yep. So that you can reformulate your prescription to the universe of what you're calling forward. There was actually a really interesting question on here from Jacqueline about her business partner having health problems and what's the best thing to do. And it's really interesting that you asked this because, I have had several conversations in the last week about free will and destiny and somebody's journey and why they're here and the lessons they have to learn. And I have a bit of a perspective. I'm not saying that anyone would like willingly in their human costume pick a disease or a health problem and say, that's what I want, send it right in. But every time I look at things energetically, whether it's a health issue, a relationship issue, loss of job, whatever it is, that the soul has activated a request either while they're here or in the Akashic records pre-birth, where they've selected different ingredients to have the biggest soul lesson, soul growth. So with that, when I get asked a question like this, it's like, what could you do? You could ask, how are they feeling? Do they need anything? Is there anything they want to talk about? You can lend a hand. You can lend support. The card I picked actually was Seek an Expert. And so if there's anybody you want to connect your business partner to, you certainly can, but we cannot take on the burdens of trying to fix or heal someone else. It's an inside job and it's something that they have to take accountability for. But I think being a very open person, conduit for them to be able to come to and express their thoughts honestly with discretion, I think would be helpful. So in other words, I don't think there's a whole lot that you should do or could do, but instead be somebody that they can turn to. And if there's a connection you can make for them, like the seeking an expert, then certainly do that. And hopefully that message resonates and makes sense.
Love it. So Susan's asking if her uncle, if it was a last minute decision or a planned passing, I guess. Let me go back up to her specifics here so I can get the exact wording. Was my uncle's passing planned, or was it more of a last minute choice? So here's the thing. We all plan our departure long before we ever get here. So the short answer is, of course, it was planned. It's an exit point. And the long answer is we have many exit points in our life. And it's really up to our soul to decide in that moment, are we going to take the exit point or not? You know, we might be in a car accident, or we might have something happen and we have a near-death experience, or, you know, we have a close call or something like that, and we decide to stay. We also, you know, I don't know if this was suicide, if that's what you're asking. I don't feel like it was, but if it was, I mean, that's a whole other thing. It's still a choice, you know, it's still something that you're choosing, and it's choosing to be in the journey, as difficult as it is, or opting out of the journey and kind of starting fresh, right? Sometimes it's just too hard for people. So there's a lot that goes into answering that question, because, you know, he chose to leave at that time. Whether he made the choice in the moment at the exit point, or whether he made the choice prior to coming here, it's kind of both answers. Yes. All of that to say, when I look at the energy and I'm kind of feeling into it, and I threw some cards around it, it really feels like he was in control of this decision. So I would say he did choose to leave. And was it planned? I would say yes, over last minute, because it looks like he was very much in control of his decision to depart. It wasn't something that feels like it was spontaneous or last minute or unexpected. It looks like it was definitely planned. So I hope that that helps and doesn't make things worse. But that's what I'm seeing around that. So, and it's tough, you know, because we will never understand fully those decisions, you know, and even outside of the body, you may still not understand those decisions, because if you're not fully lucid, then you're just trapped in that incarnation cycle, that samsara cycle. So you may still not be conscious. That's why it's so important to become conscious and lucid now, in the awakened state and in the dream state, because if you choose to leave, even if it's a conscious choice in this body, once you're out, you're not in that lucid state necessarily to even be able to decide. So you kind of get swept up in this cycle and you spit back out into this world without even processing what just happened to you. So it's real tricky. So it's really important to do that spiritual work on yourself, and to do the work, which is coming awake into the dream that is this life, so that you can be in charge of saying, hey, I want to choose. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go there. Because you're not necessarily going to be conscious to that choice unless you're able to be conscious when you make that choice. So,
yeah. Beautiful. I'm going to do two real quick. I want to answer Michelle's question. Michelle had asked about healing and time frame of healing. I do not want to tell you when you're going to start feeling better, because I actually think you can speed it up. And my recommendations would be to do like an energy clearing or meditation with Archangel Raphael. And I also want you to sit with the energy and the story around your injury and ask yourself if you're in victim energy or victorious energy. Because if there's anything that you are focusing on around being the victim or being in pain or being hurt, and I'm not, this is interesting because this is what's coming in. And I'm not saying this is necessarily you, but use it as an example, Michelle. You know how like when a little kid gets hurt and I see this with some people around me. Like the little kid will be hurt and they'll cry and their mom will give them the Band-Aid. And now they know that there's some energy like reciprocated when there's an injury or they're hurt. And so I want you to revisit that in your childhood and see what your relationships to injuries are and do a little bit of journaling and some work around that. I did pull a couple cards for Claire Morgan, and it's interesting. She just wanted any messages. And you got 3 cards that all say, open your heart, be vulnerable, speak from the heart, choose your heart. It's open your heart, speak with love, and be creative, create something new. So these are all about choosing to see things through the lens of love and through the perspective that we're all one consciousness, rather than trying to decide things from your head. Really try to drop down into a softer, kind of that Pisces energy, to try and solve problems. So hopefully that helps. Yeah. And I know that we're about out of time. I know we have soul to soul. What do you feel?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do soul to soul. Here, let me get back. Man, my computer is running slow today, you guys. Here we go. Boom.
Boom. Okay, you have a question, the soul to soul. And what we're going to do is I will post this over in the Ajata Kasha app after we get done with the show today, and just comment on that thread. Let us know your answer. The question I want you to think about today is, if you could go back into time and relive any one day from start to finish, which day would you choose and why? Okay, so one day only, start to finish. I think their answers are going to be all over the board, so it'll be interesting to see what folks are saying. But as always, it was a pleasure, Lisa, and thank you to everybody who tuned in live today and asked your questions and weighed in on MH370, as well as the questions for the card polls. And all of our members and Super Chat supporters, we appreciate you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you guys so much. And Dallisa, it's always a joy to do this. And don't forget, you guys, to subscribe to Buddhist Biohacker on YouTube and Spirit and Spark TV on YouTube. And I will be back T-minus about 10 minutes with Cheryl Cremines, the Colorado herbalist. She's going to be sharing today how to use herbs and what herbs to use to help your body transition into spring. So it's actually going to be really, I'm excited about that. So, and I will be back and I'll see you then.
Awesome. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye, guys.